Welcome back. Today's issue is really about trying to understand the conflict in northern Mozambique. That's over the last 3 years, and we are continuing now. As we're heading towards the end, I want to start with you, Ambassador Ntshinga, and say, realistically, you've painted a picture at the beginning what SADC is capable of. You've painted a picture as well of the respect for a country's sovereignty. You can't just move in there and do anything, whether you're South Africa or you're SADC. Mozambique must provide that roadmap. Realistically, when should we expect that roadmap, in your view, from what you are hearing in the diplomatic corridors, in the corridors of officialdom? Because, as I said earlier, I mean, people are dying, people have lost homes, people have lost livelihoods in that part of northern Mozambique.
Actually, I must also confirm that we are very concerned as South Africa about the escalation of this conflict. We are very concerned about the lives that have been lost on an ongoing basis. We are very concerned about the issue of internally displaced people. Some of them have ran away to as far away places as Tanzania. And we are also equally concerned about the possibility of that conflict going beyond Mozambique and affecting other countries who share borders with Mozambique, like Malawi, Zimbabwe, and so on. We are equally very, very keen to hear, as soon as it is feasible for the Mozambican government, on what they think we could do to assist them.
So you're still waiting, and it looks like until the Mozambican authorities raised their hand and said, this is what we want, we as South Africa, for example, as a member of SADC, can't do much.
That's why I was saying that what we can do is to persuade and say, please move with speed so that this issue is attended to. But otherwise, the international practice will not allow us, whether as SADC or as South Africa, to just go in and move into Mozambique and then do what we want to do. No. So because the conflict,
Ambassador Ntshinga, sorry to interrupt you. You won't even be moved by the plight of some 250,000 people and more who've been displaced. And just 2 weeks ago, I interviewed the World Food Programme here on Today, who are appealing for millions of dollars, more than $4 million of help to provide humanitarian aid, much relief that is needed. That won't even move you to say there's a humanitarian crisis, let alone the fight that is going on. Let's step in there and assist.
No, that's a different one, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the security issue. But in terms of humanitarian assistance, that is what we can do. That is what we do at given times, to assist. Even when they had their cycle, recall that we were among the very first countries that went into that region to assist the victims of both cyclones. I think it was Kenneth and
he died.
Whatever.
And he died.
I think it was.
He died. Yeah. Cyclone, he died. Okay. Okay, no, I get your point.
So on the humanitarian side, I must say, that's a different case. That's a different kettle of fish altogether. The humanitarian.
But Ambassador, we are talking about the security one, Ambassador Ntshinga, because we know today we would not be having a humanitarian crisis in northern Mozambique were it not of the security situation. But you've made your point to say that you have to wait for Mozambique, and you are trying to persuade them to move quick to say what help do they need on the security side. And Adriano, you're back with us now. Thank you very much. Ambassador Ntshinga is saying, SADC countries are ready to assist. Mozambique is not. So, in your view, How soon, from what we are hearing from the government, are they willing to allow other people in? And when we lost your connectivity earlier, John Stupart here from the African Defence Review made a point about that it looks like commercial interests are the ones that the government in Mozambique is looking after, hence the involvement of mercenaries.
Thank you very much for having me back. This is an important point. As I'm speaking now, we have 300,000 IDPs, internally displaced people, more than 1,500 people killed. But the Mozambique government has signed a deal with international oil companies to protect their infrastructure. And that capacity of the state is being taken away from the state to fulfill its primary mandate of protecting its civilian borders and sovereignty. We call it the Iraqization of the security in northern Mozambique. And that, in our view, is part of a resource curse where the state capacity is being privatized, and this is an issue of major concern. Next to this, you have situations of violations of human rights in northern Mozambique. So with this happening, we think that although SADC has to respect the sovereignty and initiative of Mozambique government to take the leadership, but SADC in its constitution, it has a responsibility to protect. And the responsibility to protect principle is put into play when there are situations of a humanitarian crisis and violations of human rights. So although at the moment this it cannot be used to intervene, but at least it can be used as a pressure instrument against Mozambique. I think I would not agree much with Ambassador when he say that we have to wait for Mozambique. I think there are elements that SADC, by SADC I mean the key countries within SADC, to engage Mozambique on two important grounds. One is the issue of violation of human rights and the responsibility to protect, and also the danger of internationalization of these conflicts. We have seen in West Africa how it has quickly expanded to other countries from Nigeria and Mali. So if Mozambique is not engaged properly by SADC, it can incubate a stand from which the Islamic State will spread across the southern region, and difficulty to repeal at that level.
Professor Adriano, you're making very valid point there. Why wait when you've got a constitution as SADC that can allow you to protect, especially where there's a violation of human rights and you have the responsibility to protect your citizens? I'm going to give the final word to you, John. You've made the issue of commercialization. It has come up very clearly. And Professor Adriano, they're making it very clear that it looks like the Mozambique government is working more to protect this, provide security to those foreign companies there in Cabo Delgado. Your parting words.
I absolutely agree. I think the professor's term, calling it the Iraqization of Mozambique, is spot on with that. I think unless we see some dramatic shift in political outlook by the Mozambican government, we're not going to see a movement away from private security solutions for this. I think if I had to venture a guess, I would say that Mozambique is looking to try this solution first, while softly making overtures to the EU and SADC and all that. But SADC and EU and the African Union are all very reluctant to get involved. In terms of responsibility to protect and human rights abuses, I agree, and there's absolutely mechanisms, to my understanding, within SADC and with the African Union that could trigger an intervention, but we didn't do it in Zimbabwe. We haven't done it in Lesotho. I'm not holding my breath for Mozambique.
And Liesl pointed out earlier that the Secretariat of SADC in Gaborone in Botswana is fairly weak. So we have a complex conflict that's playing itself out as we speak over the last 3 years in the northern province of Cabo Delgado province. Commercial interests being protected, provided security for by the Mozambican government. At least 250,000 Mozambicans, if not 300,000, displaced from their homes to faraway places like Tanzania, neighboring province of Nyasa and Nampula. Meanwhile, while it's happening there, no solution seems to be possible. Well, we tried to give you some understanding of the conflict. We hope you got some in the past hour, but it is really a tragedy that is unfolding. And I don't think because you're in Johannesburg, it's far away from you. That's where I end off for today. Stay tuned to ENCA.